Welcome back to Tempa Customs, and on this episode we are going to try to race the rain and storms that are coming in to fix the exhaust on my dad's 2015 Equinox. The resonator pipe ripped all the way down the side, and it's making a lot more noise than it should. Skies north of us over Lake Erie are looking pretty dark, but to the west, where it's coming from, is looks to be okay. But we are looking to get rain in the next couple of hours, is what the weather forecast is showing. So the other day he came over and I looked at it just to double check what it was. And again, I'll show you once we get back home that the resonator is ripped all the way down the side and it's just leaking outside of it. And so I went on to Rock Auto and I ordered the new resonator with pipes. It's maybe 4 feet long total. It's a Welding unit. So that's fine. I've got a welder. And it was, I think, $80 or something like that. Shipping, it was $90. So couldn't pass that up to get the pipe with the angles, everything needed, instead of just trying to weld in a new resonator. This will be a lot easier to do, and I think it shouldn't take us that long to do. I hope. Fingers crossed. So once I get home, I'll get changed out of what I'm wearing because I don't want to ruin my Flying Sparks garage shirt. I do like this shirt a lot. But we'll get dressed, jack up this side of the car, and then we will take a look at what we can do to get this resonator pipe put in. I'll also have to move a couple of cars. I have to move the Accord, and I'll have to move the Nova that's currently at the house right now so that I can get the Equinox up far enough to get close to the welder. So that is the plan for now. Let me show you what the sky looks like. So that is north over the lake. We're only a couple miles from Lake Erie. So you can see some blue sky up in the right corner there. It's looking nicer over there. Some more blue sky spots that way. But up there is looking pretty dark. But again, that's moving west to east. So hopefully that'll all just be continuing away from us for a while. And I guess it gives me a couple hours to work on. Yeah, see over here, we were looking a little bit less ominous. Some brighter clouds over there. Let's hope we have enough time. Having to jump the Nova to get it out of the way is not helping our time frame of trying to get this in before the rain comes in behind us. But hopefully we can let it charge for a minute and get it to start. It is dead. So hopefully this Equinox put enough charge into that to give us something. You can try it, see what it does. Nothing. And it is here for an exhaust leak, and it's here for a GPS for the speedometer. And I'm also going to say we should probably see where all of this oil is coming from, or transmission fluid, wherever that is, because that's a big puddle. But those are on later episodes. Let's get this started so I can get that started. Okay, here's what we're working with. Right there, you can see the exhaust is ripped out. So hopefully it's going to be just as simple as removing that clamp right there, hopefully, and then we're going to have to figure out how long the new pipe is, and we're going to cut the exhaust back there in that section to whatever this length here is. So this is a new piece of pipe. That should just slip on and clamp. And this side here, we're gonna have to figure out how it's gonna fit in the length, but that should be easy. So I'm gonna get this jacked up so that we can get underneath it. I built those blocks for the Corvette, but it works really well since I don't have a lift currently to get up vehicles high enough to be able to work underneath them safely. So first things first, well, actually first things first, I have to measure, see how long this pipe is to know where I'm going to cut it. So hold on, let's look at that. So press that against the muffler, or the resonator, and come down here. It's like 38 inches, if it were to focus. 38 inches. From resonator to the end. Now, what I'm curious about is, it says it's a Welding pipe, but it looks like it might slip over this. So once we cut this out, we will be able to see if it will slip in. 38 inches puts me back here. Interesting spot. I guess I can put it anywhere though, right? Why does it have to go there? Cutting this wherever I can cut it would probably be the easiest for me. Honestly, removing the whole thing might be the easiest thing to do. It's only rubber hangers once I disconnect it from up there. I'm going to mark it at 38. Because this has a slightly different shape to it. Because it has to clear the... oh my gosh, stop doing that. It has to clear the differential mount. Oh my gosh. Okay, stay right there. So 38 inches is about here. And if I want to, if these two pipes slip into each other, then I want to leave a little bit and go to like 36. It gives me 2 inches of slip-on space. But again, I don't know if it's going to slip on. It's going to come down to how easy it is to get these rubber bungs off, honestly. That's going to be the determining fact. Oh, well, that one almost just came off. So if I can get all these rubber bungs off easily and get that clamp off, this whole exhaust pipe is just going to drop out. I can build it out from underneath the car. Rust in the eye. Build it out from underneath the car and slide the whole thing right back in. That may be our best bet, and it'll make it so much easier to cut clean and cut square. Let's go look at that clamp up front. I brought 13, 14, 15 with me. We'll see what size it is. Not 13. It is 14. It is not 15. This car is very clean underneath it for being an Ohio car. Oh my. Oh my. Oh. Well, that'll change things if that won't come loose. Looks like somebody put a weld on it. Would they have welded it? Wouldn't make sense. Possibly, yes, but it doesn't make sense. I mean, getting this clamp is not going to be the hardest thing in the world to do. I'm going to save myself a hassle. I'm just cutting it off. Cut the clamp off. It's actually welded the very top right there on top of the pipe. So I just wiggled it back and forth and the clamp broke off because this nut was not coming loose ever. I think it looks like someone welded it on or just it's rusted solid. So cutting it off was our only option. I cut it right through the middle of the bolt. That way I didn't damage the existing pipe. And now there's little grooves here. One on, like, let's see if I cover it. One right there and one on the other side. If I can get those to split open a little bit, it should allow me to get this, slide the resonator out of this pipe. And that's what we're going for. So let's see if we can get that to spread a little bit with a couple of tools. Let's see these other ones come down just as easy. That one did. Oh, that one came off really easy. Okay, so far so good. I should have just bought the whole thing back. So I didn't price that, so I have no idea how much that would have been. I don't know if I'm doing anything. I sprayed a little bit of WD-40 in it, in that clamp area. This is heavier than I was expecting to have to hold. Oh, it's gotta be moving. It's gotta be moving. No. Okay, I don't know if it's moving. Let's hook that back up. Holy moly. Okay, let me go back that way, find out what's going on. Oh, we're slipping. We're about a 1/4 inch out. So, actually better than I thought. Moving. Oopsie. Just bent that ear a little bit. It's okay, we'll bend it back. The clamp will take care of that. Oh, bent that one too. Don't worry. Clamp will take care of that. I can't see. Oh, there I can see again. It's moving. It's definitely moving. There it goes. There it goes. Okay. We'll fix the bends. Lift up. Oh, why did I put that all the way back on? I don't even know. That doesn't seem like a smart idea. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. It's off. That is going to make it a bazillion times easier to weld up. Now that I have it out, I can actually see. Now you can't see. It's split all the way down this edge. It's all rusted out. So, yeah, it's time to replace it. Let's line up the other one on top of it. And it won't balance. Okay, so there. So we want to cut it to start out with right here. Because if this slips over top of this, I don't think it does now that I'm looking at it. These are probably the same size. So this is where I have to weld back together. But if they do fit, we're good. Actually, I need to line up the front. This front's back a little bit, so we want to go there. There's a couple things that are different on this exhaust, because this is center input. This is a center input. This is just slightly off center input. This did say it fit for the vehicle, and it is all in those rubber mounts, so I'm not really that concerned that's not going to mount. This bracket is relatively close enough for the hanger there. So as long as I get the tip here, the tips of the pipe lined up, we'll be fine. I'm going to mark both sides of this just in case I do need to cut back to here, but I'm also going to mark it here, actually about there, so that can slip inside. But this side also, I'm going to mark it if I do need to cut it, and just butt weld them back together. Simple, easy peasy. Cut the pipes, and these are the same size. I mean, this doesn't fit in there and this doesn't fit on there. Never will, unless we would get a pipe stretcher or tubing, flaring, whatever. So I did mark this part. Right? Did I mark that part? This goes like this. Yeah, so this is where I'm going to cut it here now, because that's where this is going to butt up to. I'll cut it and then I'll clean up this metal. We'll put a weld on it as straight as we can, and we'll reinstall it. It hopefully won't be that difficult to get back in. This is what we have. That's cut and ground. This is ground. I have to get this level with this. I'm gonna probably block it up, prop this muffler up on a block of like 2x. That might get this flat and get that as level as possible with some other stuff underneath that. Just try to keep it rocked level as well. And once that's done, we'll tack weld it, and hopefully it'll be straight enough to put back in. So the muffler looked to be fairly parallel to the resonator line. So what I did is I just ran the straight edge as close as I could, straight down here, and then just took a measurement to make sure I'm as parallel as possible. I think I am. Got a little bit of a gap, but I've had way worse. We'll be able to weld it in without a problem. I'll probably put 3 or 4 tacks on it. No, I'm just going to weld it up and hope for the best. Well, that was a measure once, cut once, and hopefully weld once. The welds aren't even that terrible on this one. I'm happy with those. Now we got to go see if it fits. And hopefully this other end just slips back in to the clamp side and the other one, which I gotta go get a clamp. Let me go do that. Let me go get a clamp for this first before I slide this in. I just spent probably over an hour and a half driving from parts store to try to find this exhaust clamp that I need. And most of the stores I went to were apologetic that they didn't have the part. The last one I went to actually showed it in stock, and not only were they not apologetic that they didn't have the part, which is fine, they don't have to be, but the older gentleman who was helping me was very arrogant that I was doing my repair wrong, and the parts that I was looking for were not the right parts. And I'm not going to say that I'm getting the right part, but I get the wrong part all the time. But to just assume that I'm doing it wrong and that I should be welding it back together, number one, why can't you just can't get up there and weld it back in? Why aren't you welding it back in? Well, just to assume that I have a welder is kind of out there, because the majority of people who go to those stores, I would say, aren't looking to weld their exhaust back together. I'm sure plenty can, but that shouldn't be an expected thing for someone to be able to go in and weld an exhaust back together. So I got a clamp that's not, it's a standard exhaust clamp, it's not the right clamp. I'm going to try to get it clamped back together with that, but there are those big long slits on the side of the pipe that's still in there that I might actually end up having to weld up. But I would like it to be able to come apart if I ever had to get it to come apart again and not be welded in that spot. It's just very frustrating going to parts stores anymore, because either they don't listen to what the customer needs. They assume what you need, and maybe that's come to be what they deal with, is assuming that the customer is wrong. But sometimes they need to just sit back and listen to what you're trying to do, and that this is now custom. This has been on this car forever. It's rusted. Things aren't the same shape anymore. You're now building a custom piece, even though it's going on a factory car. Okay, rant over. I got some parts. Let's see if you can make this thing work. Got two sides of exhaust clamp here. I know I peeled this a little bit, but I can bend that back. Here's 2 1/4. Yeah, I mic this at 2 3/8. I'm assuming 2 1/4, and it might just be stretched out. It's not the right style clamp, and I know that. There's holes in it. There's actual little holes. Well, that's where that went in. Okay. 2 1/4 might work. 2 inches definitely not going to work. 2 1/2 is going to be too big. There's going to be a seam. There's going to be a gap on this thing. Yeah, there may need to be some welding going on. We'll see. We'll try the 2 1/4, because that's what it calls for from the factory, or for a replacement pipe. But I just don't think it's going to seal. There's going to be an exhaust leak coming out here. But let's see what we can do. Oh, maybe not, maybe not. Okay, nope. Okay, I'm liking it. Okay, that's better. That's gotta come toward me. It's moving. It's going in. really close. Really close, actually. Mark there. So you can drive it back to that point. Okay, we are slid on. We'll put this clamp on, which we'll see if it seals. I don't think it's going to seal as well as I'd like it to. This is the clamp it shows in the book for replacement. This is what you're supposed to replace it with, but it's not the right clamp. That's all I'm saying. Okay, that's all held up in there. I'm not actually feeling any air, surprisingly. That's actually really good, better than I thought it was going to be. Still sounds like there's a leak somewhere. It could just be the muffler itself makes noise like that. Unless they got a leak. There's no leaks in here. I'm gonna call that a fix. Yeah, we're gonna go with that. So that's awesome. Let me get it off the blocks and we'll take it around the block. Get it off the blocks, take it around the block, and we'll return it back to my dad. Driving the Equinox back, it sounds good. It doesn't have that weird buzzy noise underneath the passenger side anymore. It sounds like probably like it did when it was brand new. It's very quiet on the outside, which again, bonus. I'll probably check it to make sure that clamp doesn't come loose at all. It should. I cranked it pretty tight. But double check it maybe in a month or so just to make sure that it's still tight. Sounds good. Sounds quiet. It is now 6 o'clock, and the dark clouds that were over the lake all passed, but there's now dark clouds to the south of us, west of us, which that means those ones are probably the ones that are coming to give us some rain, which we knew was on the way. I'm glad I got this in and buttoned up before that rain showed up. Just dropped his vehicle off, and that is actually, it is raining over there. I can see it coming. So that was perfect timing to have his vehicle back to him. And that was a very simple repair. It really, other than finding the clamp that I couldn't find. It was a couple-hour job, and I just enjoy being able to help my dad out because I know he appreciates it immensely. That, you know, his car's actually, he misses the noise it was making. It was kind of making a burbly noise that he liked, but it was also loud in the morning. But his car's fixed. He's happy. I'm pleased that it was a relatively simple job, and able to help my dad out. That's all. So with that, we'll end the episode. Thank you all for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope everybody has a great week. I wasn't kidding. 45 minutes later, we literally just got this the vehicle done in time. This would not have been fun to be working in.